The fun part is I have never done one of these with the other person in the car, so it's going to be a
I
good time.
mean, I mean, this is so typical realtor, is it not?
That's right. That's right. Wait, did you say you
Hey,
won a Jeep, by the way?
I did. Did you see?
No, tell me about that.
Okay. Let me tell you, this is a really cool story, actually. So I sold a property in a local community in DFW, and the people who developed the community actually own a big car dealership, Huff Hines. And so if you sold one of their cars between like September of last year and September of this year, they invited you to this client appreciation party, but they mailed you a key. And so when you got there, you had to bring the key. They gave the key a number. Then they pulled 10 numbers. My number was one that they pulled. Then you had to go back and pick another key. 5 of those keys opened a box. So my key opened the box, and then you had to pick one of the 5 key fobs. So I picked center top because, I mean, hello, and I won a Jeep, and that's what I'm in right now. So I'm
No
learning it. I've been
way. That is
riding it.
amazing.
It is really super cool. And I keep telling people, I think that it's awesome too, because I've never really won anything like that, but my mindset was my kids asked, I'm like, I'm going to win us a Jeep. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, win us a Jeep. I went back there and it was all these people and they're like, who's feeling lucky? And everyone's like, I never win, not me. And I was like, no, I'm like going to win this Jeep. And by the time I got on stage, everybody that we were with, like the people that I was in competition with, were all like, yes, we hope you win. So it was super funny and it's been extremely exciting. And everybody at EXPCon kept telling me congratulations. I'm like, why are all these people congratulating me? It was because of the Jeep. They were like, I've never met
Oh, that's
anyone who's won
awesome.
a Jeep. So
Right.
yeah, but it's been super cool. It's really fun to ride around in too. It's not as luxurious, but it's super fun. So here I am.
So I miss my Jeep. I used to have a Wrangler that I lifted and put all kinds of cool stuff. We used to go off-roading all the time when I lived in California. And so I love them. I want another one. I sold it when we moved here because there's not as many off-roading places close, but I really miss that car actually. My whole family hated it except for me. Oh no,
Really?
my little guy loved
Oh, I know. We took the doors off yesterday. Me and my 13-year-old took the doors off yesterday. It was super cool, but it is really fun. I'm like embracing it. I feel like it's a little gift, and I think it is super fun.
it.
And
Yeah.
they have a Jeep club. Danny, come on.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I know. I need to get another one and join. I loved it. I used to go all the time. I took my family camping. I used to go off-roading all the time, like
Oh my
hardcore
gosh.
off-roading because I had it lifted and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
it was really fun. I really
All
missed
right.
that actually.
I'm gonna get some
You
pointers
remind
from
me.
you offline because I've learned the piece. You got to piece everybody. So you got to really pay
Yes.
attention to who's driving by you.
You want to hear a funny story about that?
I
So
do.
my wife Elena borrowed my Jeep one time, and she comes back and she's like, "Hey, just so you know, like I get a lot of looks in this car." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "All these guys are like picking up on me and waving at me." And I'm like, "No, silly, that's the Jeep wave."
Oh my God, that's awesome. I got like the really quick 30-second rundown from the dealership, but I definitely, it is a culture. I like it. I'm gonna
Yes,
wrap my
yeah.
doors
Yeah,
and call
yeah.
it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a really cool Jeep community. There's this new thing that they started. This is after I had mine with like these ducks, which I'm not a big fan of, but like everyone's got the Jeep ducks.
I got it. I've been getting ducked already. I know I don't like the
That's
clutter, but
after my
I'm riding
time.
with it. I'm riding with it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I have
Super
a
cool.
friend here that has one, and she's got like a whole row of ducks and stuff. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome, Brittany. Congrats. That's super cool. And all
Thank you.
started with
Thank
a
you.
real estate sale, right?
I mean, my goodness, you never know what's going to happen in this industry.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. You mentioned some of your kids. I should jump into. So I asked you before we jumped on, like, what are you known for? What's your superpower? This kind of thing. And the first thing you mentioned was you're a full-time mom, and you run this amazing real estate team and stuff. So for people that watch this and have maybe other jobs, other careers, or their parents or whatever, how do you manage all of that?
Yeah, it's
Perfect
a lot.
segue.
I know. I know. Thanks. Yes. No, I do have phenomenal kids, and I think that that's the fabric of my being. I think that as a female, sometimes people don't think that you can go hand in hand of being a phenomenal parent and a great realtor, right? And what I've just had to learn is you can. Like whatever's important to you and you prioritize, you can. Now, you got to leverage. That's how I'm so successful. Leverage. You've got to find other people. You have to find trusted individuals for both your business and your children. And I always try to maintain first right of refusal for my kids. I want to be the one taking them to school. I want to be the one picking them up. I'm just having those connections. So I think that that's a great way to have the best of both worlds. Like, don't limit yourself, whether it's being a parent or, having another job. you've got to learn how to systematize as much as you can and leverage through people and systems. That's it.
Yes, 100%. And so, Brittany, let me ask you a question on that because I've always been about leverage. I came into real estate from a business background and being an attorney and stuff. So I was always all about leverage and like shameless plug. That's why we started our transaction coordinator company. But how do you, is that something you learned as you went? Was that something you were taught? Because what I find is a lot of realtors really don't want to leverage. They feel like they need to do everything themselves. They don't want to hire people. They don't know how to do that. So where did you pick that up?
Yeah, I think I am a big fan of rip off and duplicate other people who've already laid the path of where I need to go. Find someone where you want to go, where your next step is, and rip off and duplicate them, copy them. So that's kind of what I did. Of course, I read the MREA, by Gary Keller and Dave Owens and things like that. So I feel like it's a little old school now, but I think start by focusing on the things that you hate to do. Start continuously writing a list of the things you hate to do: laundry, lawn, service, transaction, contract to close. Exactly what you said. That's the hugest place to go. So I think that's where I learned it. But I've just always found people who I admired and really tried to copy exactly what they were doing, or ask them, take them to coffee, take them to lunch, take them, pick their brain. People in this industry, most people, are really willing to help and share how they got where they got. And that's the way to propel your business and to reach your goals, in all honesty, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Real estate's been around for a really, really long time. Parenting's been around for a really, really long time. Find a phenomenal idol that you need and go reach out to them, talk to them, copy their systems and models, tweak it to make it your own, but don't reinvent it. You don't have to do that. I think that's one of the most things this past year I've had great success in building a team. And I think the reason why I have is because I took a chance. I aligned myself with people who are where I want to be, and I reached for the stars for them and put myself in those rooms with those people. And they've catapulted my business really in the past 18 months. So,
Yeah, that's awesome, Brittany. Now, a question for you, somewhat of a leading question, but what importance do you place on, really being around the right people, the right brokerage, the right group within that brokerage on your success?
man, lately, the past 2.5 years, everything. I think that I think that all of us come into this with a little bit of ego. We want to be accepted. We want to have friends in the office. We want to, we want to align ourselves with other people that we know. And I think that that's great to a certain extent. What happened to me is I just started feeling like a really big fish in a small pond. And I felt extreme loyalty to my brokerage, to my friend group, a few years ago. And I just kind of got a little exhausted of being the one who was always helping other people. But then when I needed assistance or someone to reach up to, I just couldn't find that. And I took a really big risk, to find some people who were bigger than me. And I wanted to be a little tiny fish. And man, I'm a small fish in a big pond. So I would say I've been doing this 20 years, Danny. I don't know if you know that, but I would say the first 17 years, I didn't put much placement on that. The past 2.5, 3 years, it's all about who you know. It's all about who you know.
So you started when you were 4 years old in real estate. That's nice.
And I started fresh out of college. I was actually 21, but yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years. It's kind of crazy. So
That's awesome. So it sounds like we started in real estate right around the same time then. So we went right
2004.
right into the, yeah, I that's when I got my broker's license. I was a lawyer and I did a real estate deal and I saw the check that the real estate agent got because it was a big $17 million deal in LA. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm on the wrong side of this. So I got my broker's license. I didn't actually start doing stuff until the beginning of '07, right into the crash, good
Oh,
timing.
wow. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect timing.
It was really fun. It's crazy to say because I say I've been doing it 20 years, and of course I age myself, which is perfectly fine. But the industry has changed so much. Like, we had to wear pantyhose, and we had MapQuest everything, and you had an MLS book you had to flip through, and it's just insane what technology.
Right.
Now look at us. AI can tell us, how to do, what to do, when to do what to do. So it's really cool how real estate industry's evolved.
Other than the pantyhose, that all sounds very familiar to me.
I know, right? We had to go through the back door. If we wore jeans, you could not walk through the front door. Isn't that crazy?
At your brokerage?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's
Yep. And
wild.
that was in Florida, by the way. In Florida. And the
Okay.
heat of it all. You could not wear
Wow.
jeans, were not an acceptable attire. So,
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
how much how much it's changed. That's for sure. So, Brittany, actually, it's good you mentioned that you started 20 years ago. Let me take you all the way back. Tell me about your first transaction as a real estate agent.
Ooh, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I faked it till I made it. I will tell you that much. They're still friends of mine too. I don't even know if they know they were my first transaction. So when I first started, I was 21 and young. I didn't know anybody. I had just started taking care of my brother who's mentally disabled, and I just didn't have a choice. So I door knocked and I did open houses nonstop, literally nonstop. And so my first deal came from an open house, and they walked in and we clicked, and I loved it. And I sold him a house back in the day 20 years ago. It was $285,000. So it was that was a big price point for old Jacksonville, Florida, for sure. And I was really nervous, but again, I aligned myself with people who helped walk me through the transaction, and I did it. And it was probably one of the proudest moments. Like you said, I was like, dude, these checks, I was 21, made like 7 grand and, like that. It was super cool. Then I had it. It was like an addiction though. I was ready to go.
That's awesome. I love the alarms going off. This is the fun
I'm
part
sorry.
about you being in
I'm
the
so
car. Oh,
sorry.
it's all
I'm
good.
so
Hey, we're
sorry.
having a good time. Hey, it's all fun. So then Brittany, in that first year, if you can remember, how much did you make in real estate?
You want to know the truth, Danny? And I tell people this all the time. I tell my team this all the time. You ready? 10,000.
Yeah.
4 months, 10,000. The next year I made 20,000, and I've been doubling it ever since.
I love it. That is awesome. You
I'm
guys
just
can
kidding.
do the math on that.
So cool.
That's super cool. And I love to chat about like where people start because sometimes I find, especially newer agents will talk to experienced agents and they'll be like, oh, like I could never get there. But I just always want everyone to remember like everyone started at zero. Everyone had their first sale somehow. And so there you go. And Brittany, now I know you've built a team, and congratulations on your three
Thank you.
times icon award winning. I want to talk about that in a second for sure. I want people to understand what that means. But before we get there, just a bit of practical advice. Okay, so you talked about open house. Let's say I took you, and one more time I took you and your brand new Jeep, and I moved you to just a totally new area. You pick the city, but you don't know anyone. You don't have any sales there. You don't have a team. What would you do in those first 90 days to build your real estate business? And you got no
Yeah.
money, but you got the Jeep.
Yep. That's so cool because I did that. I moved to Dallas 10 years ago, and I knew two
Okay,
people. And
here we
hey,
go.
it can be done. Let me tell you what I did. I learned the area. I drove around probably 25 hours a week with my kids, by the way. I went to new construction. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody. I did 5 open houses a week. And what my really special sauce was, I realized, hey, all those realtors that I knew in Florida that I used to be their competition, I'm not their competition anymore. So now, anytime that they think who's moving to Dallas, I literally targeted all of those agents by attending conferences, attending events. I farmed agents. I did my
Mm.
newsletters to them. I called them. I added them on Facebook. I commented. I liked. I called them. I asked them what they were doing. Hey, have you heard of anyone? If you see anything online and you see anybody who's moving to Dallas, remember, I live in Dallas now. I'm not your competition. And I started building a database of other agents. And so that's kind of what I think what catapulted my success here in Dallas. But you can do it. If you know how to sell and you have the perseverance, and you have the drive and the want to do it, you will absolutely make it happen. Absolutely make it happen. So that's what I would suggest. Get on the phones, hit the phones, go out, meet people, think outside of the box of the typical, you know, door knocking and open houses. Those aren't fun. I don't love doing those things anymore. I don't. But I did what I had to do because I had to have an opportunity to get in front of people. And now that the NAR stuff has gone on, open houses are going to be where it's at. I'm seeing it so many times where people are walking in unrepresented buyers. We're holding it as a selling activity, and then we're getting buyers. Our success rate here in the Dallas area is really catapulted since the NAR lawsuit. So go meet people, do the activities, and it will come.
That's awesome, Brittany, and congratulations on that. It's so cool that you moved here and were able to build your business that way. So such great advice. Whether you're a new agent or you're just trying to grow your business, you want to add 10 or 20 deals or whatever that looks like for you there in terms of
Mm-hmm.
activities. I am seeing that too with the open houses for sure. Those really really do work, and I think people don't give those the attention that they deserve. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
So
just
for
do
your,
something. Just do
yeah,
something. You can work from an
that's
open
right.
house. Like, look at me. My place has no Wi-Fi. Here I am doing a podcast. Unfortunately, Danny told me to be in a quiet spot, and here I am.
That's all right. We're having fun. We roll with the punches. That's one of your superpowers that you told me about is you roll with the punches
That's
and
right.
just keep
That's right.
going. No, that's great.
Figure it out.
And so, Brittany, for your team, actually, so kind of piggybacking off that, I love that idea about the agent to agent referrals. I think that's a highly underutilized source of business for sure. But as far as your team goes, when you get agents that join the team, what is the benefit? And by the way, folks, if you're watching this, Dallas referrals come to Brittany for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll have all your contact info. Please send them to her and her team. But what does the action plan look like for an agent that joins your team? Is it similar to what you did, or do you craft something different for them?
Yeah, I think that one of the first things that I do with agents and growing a team right now is making sure they align with my values. So I follow EOS, and if you don't, and you're running a business or you're just a solo agent, I highly encourage you. It is like a milestone, monumental, earth-shattering business thing to look into EOS. You don't need to pay for anything. I am very financially responsible. I will do it the poor man's way. Get the books, read them from Gino Wickman. I strongly encourage you to do that. I'm making sure that they align with my team values. I don't add anyone to my team any longer unless they have those team values. And some of those team values are honesty, integrity, hard work, learning based, drive. So I think that you need to have those tactics and not pretend to have them. You need to have those values to be a successful agent. And then we walk them through a 30, 60, 90. So that looks like kind of getting them acclimated with the systems and tools that we're utilizing, but also having a mentor. Our team is kind of divided into pods, and we have different mentors that I'll match people up with based on personality. I find that on the job training sometimes is the best way to do it, but you've got to do some of that grunt work. So that's pounding the phones, looking in the cold lead pond, doing open houses. Rentals even have become a part of our repertoire for people starting to do real estate, because I think it's very important for your confidence to start having deals and acting like a realtor. And so even if that's a rental and it's $1,000, $1,500, hey, you might have worked 2 weeks at your last job and not, yielded that same amount. So getting people into focusing on income producing activities is paramount, and also showing up. You got to show up. So I do have a physical office space. You don't have to. You can do it on Zoom. You just have to have some sort of accountability to dedicate yourself to actual work. This is not a hobby. And maybe it is. Maybe it is a hobby for you. That's okay. But on my team, it's not a hobby. This is for real. We want people to be successful. And Danny, what I'm focused on right now with my team is I want to build mini me's. My heart gets so full now that I'm seeing my team really start to be successful financially. I have a 22-year-old on my team who made six figures. We just closed a deal last week. She went and bought a new car. Like that's what I'm focused on, or those types of things. So we're focused on the success for sure at Luxe Realty.
Oh, that's awesome, Brittany. So let me ask you this. It kind of piggybacks off that because I hear so many agents, saying, "Oh, well, I don't want to join a team. I don't want to give up commission, this and that." What is the value of in today's day and age? Where and look, you did mention it. Hey, the information's out there. I can Google how to sell real estate. But what is the value of joining your team versus, let's say, doing it on?
Yeah, I think that the value is immense. It's going to accelerate your success, because you're gonna the time that it takes to procure a lead for a solo agent new in the business is pretty tough. So joining a team that has lead sources is also quite successful. But also we're seeing about 20 to 30% of fallout here in Dallas. So you not only are looking to have that mentorship to help you successfully find leads, but you also got to get it to the closing table, or else you're not getting paid. So I think that is, there's no cost affiliated with that. When I started real estate, and Danny, maybe it was the same for you, it was dog eat dog. No one was trying to help this 21-year-old who was walking in heels and, well, I did that when I was young, and oh, you're doing this, oh, you're doing that differently. There was not the collaboration. It was competition, and they made sure that that it was known. So I think it is invaluable to align yourself again with people, and a lot of times that can be successful through teams if it's the right match. So I think that that's a value. Accountability is also another huge thing. Is, listen, we're human. If we know someone else is depending on us and waiting on us, your success goes through the roof.
Yes, that's for sure. And I completely agree with you. You know, I used to have a big real estate team and a couple big offices, and it's so true. I mean, if I were a new agent, that's exactly what I would do. I would go interview the top, 5 teams in the marketplace, pick the one that aligns the best with my values, and I'd go at it. And by the way, I wouldn't even care about, I tell agents all the time, don't care about split or any of that kind of stuff, because you're learning, and the right team, you'll net way more than you will on your own if you do it right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely,
that's for
absolutely.
sure.
And I think people who focus on the splits, like obviously we all have to feed our families, right? You know what you've got to make. But people who focus on those splits or that, it's kind of a limiting belief. And I tell people, if you're, 100% of zero is zero.
That's
So
right.
there you go. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good
So
parenting
Brittany,
philosophy we use too.
yeah, definitely. As far as agents, so now, you have a team. So you've seen agents that are successful. You've also seen agents that don't make it, whether that's on your team or just on their own. What do you think are kind of the key qualities that separate those agents that become really successful in real estate from the ones that, end up leaving the business?
Yeah, I think I've almost got it pinpoint, Danny. I'm going to sell the recipe. I think that having people who are open-minded, they're open to feedback, they have self-responsibility, they're accountable, and take that feedback and criticism, and they're open to learning a different way. People who are stubborn, listen, I'm stubborn, and I'll admit that, but I am smart enough and want to be successful enough to know that I don't know everything. Somebody else is going to know something bigger and better than me. So having the mindset that you're open to the feedback and learning a different style and way, I think that is phenomenal. And also not giving up. Listen, real estate's tough. It is. You've got to have thick skin, or you've got to develop thick skin. And I always say it's a roller coaster, highs and lows. You're trying to keep yourself in the middle as much as possible. Celebrate the successes, but don't let the downfall, be the end of that. So I think that mindset and a good mindset is also really important.
I like your secret formula for success.
Right? Right. Well, I can see it because, and I've been a team leader as well for
Yeah.
a market center. I think that you see so much failure, but you see so much success, and you're constantly taking psychological note of what could have possessed someone to fail versus what can keep them successful. And you start to see patterns, and we can see that across all industries, patterns of successful people. They've got the grit, but they also have the openness to learn and the willingness to not quit, the perseverance to not quit when things get tough.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Because they are. I mean, for everyone, regardless of your success level, things are going to get tough, and it's how you persevere through that. For sure,
Yep,
I completely agree with
absolutely.
that. No, that's awesome, Brittany. So let's talk about. I mentioned it earlier, but I saw your post that you are a X Icon Award winner at EXP Realty. So tell us
Yes.
what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined EXP about 2.5 years ago. Phenomenal decision, by the way. But EXP, if you cap, so if you give them their 20% up to your cap amount, and then addition to, you'll pay a $250 transaction fee up to $5,000. So once you do that, you icon, EXP rewards those icon agents by giving them stock options back in return. So it is a huge accomplishment. It's definitely something I know I'm going to get icon every year. Now it's how fast can I get icon? So that's super fun. They give you a very nice, which you saw in my post, it comes in the mail, very nice glass trophy, but it's more so, it's about other things. So as I've shared, I started this business when I was very young. I've made some mistakes along the way. I was in Florida. I made some bad financial investments too. And I had not started really saving and investing back in myself other than through real estate portfolios. So EXP has really opened my eyes to see things in a different manner of saving. And so I love this icon $16,000 reward because it has allowed me to start saving and catch up for things that I missed probably for the first like 15 years of my real estate career. So it's a great honor. And EXP also, the icons culturally will teach. So I love that I'm learning from other people who are at or above the same level as me too. And that's who's learning, who you're learning from.
That's so cool. So Brittany, just to recap there, because some people might be saying, "Hey, that sounds too good to be true." Because basically, what you're saying is, when you do become an icon, you're essentially, working at the brokerage for free. Like, you're not paying them anything because they're giving it back to you. Plus, you get to teach classes and all this stuff. So Is
You
that
got it.
really the case? It sounds too good to be true.
Nope, that's 100% the case. And you know what? You know, one of my favorite things, Danny, about being an icon, the Icon Lounge at EXPCon. There's great networking, there's good snacks. It's always a fun, good time, but it does seem too good to be true. People will ask me, so I'm a broker in Florida, Texas, and Oklahoma. I've had my own brokerage. People are like, well, why do you align yourself with EXP? Because I'm here for $5,000 a year, and they take all the accounting, they take all the compliance. We have 12 brokers in Texas. They can mentor my agents. I don't have the responsibility or the liability. So it is a no-brainer for business owners who want to explore and expand. Also, I'm licensed in 3 states. I have one cap. So if I want to sell 3 houses in Florida and 1 in Oklahoma, I have nothing to lose because it all goes towards my cap.
Yeah, you stole my next question, which was going to be, hey, if I'm a brokerage, or I have a big team, why would I align myself with EXP? You just kind of answered that one. The other one I get a lot is, oh yeah, I'm with a flat fee brokerage or whatever that might look like, and people that are focused on the expenses. But you answered that one as well with the Icon
Yep.
Awards. So
Yeah.
we're
And not only
knocking them
that,
all out.
the technology, I think the collaboration, the training, we have over 80 hours, online. So, I mean, there's just so much good stuff about EXP. Every time I go, I think to myself, I feel like a gushing mom, but I'm just so glad that we are where we're at, especially after the NAR lawsuit. The way that this company pivots and the way that they are constantly trying to work to make their agents more productive, it blows my mind. So I'm super thrilled. And I really think that along with Fast Forward Movement, have really been helpful for me to get me in the right mindset, but to surround myself with people that have the systems and automation put into play. So it's been an amazing adventure.
And Brittany, let's talk about that a little bit. So you mentioned Fast Forward Movement. I definitely wanted to chat about that. So within EXP Realty, there are certain groups, and some people are a little confused by that. Can you talk about what Fast Forward Movement is and what that really means?
Yeah. So you do have everybody has EXP. So you've got all the good stuff with EXP, but we have different organizations, and some of those organizations might have a different focus or an intent on how they disseminate information to people that are in their downline. Fast Forward Movement, we interviewed, I don't know if you know this, Danny, but we interviewed eight uplines before we chose.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really important to us. Again, like I said, we felt like we were big fish in a little pond, and we wanted to go to that big blue ocean, So Fast Forward is run by Dan Beer, Kyle Whistle, and Mary Maloney. They are solely focused on production, and they do all kinds of collaborative events, masterminds, sharing to share with their organization. And it's based on production. A lot of people that are building teams. We have like 38 of the top 50 teams at EXP. 8 of the top 10 are in Fast Forward. So that's why I said, Danny, I love that question that you asked, because it is really important to put yourself in these rooms with these people. Because if I'm brainstorming, I'm a visionary, right? If I'm thinking, hey, I need some additional leverage, how should I grow my team? I'm not going on Mind Map and picking a blank org chart. I'm calling Kenny Fast. I'm asking Kyle. I'm asking Dan. I'm checking in with Mary. Hey, what have you done? This is what I'm thinking. Poke holes in this for me. Tell me what do you think the downfall is? And I'm sorry, my phone keeps clicking on here. But any of those kind of questions that you have, you're now in the rooms and you have alignment with these people who have a vested interest to assist back. And even if they don't, they're still helping. So Fast Forward Movement is that organization and that upline who is focused on production and providing value back to its organization and agent.
Now, Brittany, the cool thing for me that I think was the most eye-opening, it actually took me a couple months to realize that, when you join an organization like Fast Forward Movement, let's say you come to EXP and you name Brittany as your sponsor, you get all that stuff at no extra cost or split, which is just unbelievable.
I would probably pay like $10,000 a month to get what we get. And I'm not even kidding you. It's the best coaching, the best opportunities, is an awesome, awesome value for being a Fast Forward Movement by far. We chose right, Danny. We chose
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I think so. Yes. I'm very happy. The only regret I have is not coming sooner.
Me too. I always say I have a 13-year-old son, as I've said. I would have bet my firstborn kid, my 13-year-old, that I would not have joined EXP. And I'm so glad. See, when I told you I was stubborn, I'm so glad that I was
Right.
open-minded to just listen to the opportunity because, the same thing. It's changed a lot about my life and opportunities, and I'm super appreciative of that.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And so, Brittany, a couple more things I have for you that are fun on the real estate topic. And thank you all for tuning in here. So if you're buying or selling in the Dallas area, or you have referrals for the Dallas area as a real estate agent, contact Brittany and her team. We'll have all that contact info down in the description. And also, Brittany, you are growing your team, right? So if an agent is
Yeah.
interested in joining, they should reach out as well, right?
Absolutely, I would love that. Absolutely, we love that. As long as they align with those values I mentioned before, we welcome them. We are growing. We got lots to collaborate on.
That's awesome. All right, so let me ask you some fun questions here. So, what is the weirdest way that you or someone on your team has ever gotten a client,
Oh gosh, I
or
don't know if
fun
I
way?
can
It could be
say.
weird or fun or interesting or some unconventional.
I think I've had some people who are on the dating apps who have found people, so that's been interesting. Yeah, that's been interesting. I'm like, hey, as long as it's open communication and we know if this relationship doesn't work out, they're still going to use us. I'm good with it. So I would say that's been quite funny. But that's the first one that comes to mind that I can
I
say.
love that. Hey, you got to. It's all the same. Prospecting for partners and prospecting for real estate is very similar.
So similar. It really truthfully is. It's funny.
That's really awesome. By the way, I should have asked you what originally brought you to Dallas 10 years ago. I moved here about 3.5 years ago, so a little bit
Yeah,
different.
so at the time, my husband, his job was what they called optimizing. So they were closing stores in Florida. And I'm actually from Central Florida and was living in Jacksonville. And I was not happy. I did not want to raise children there. And we had friends that lived here, and we came and visited, and they had opportunity for him to transfer here. So we did, and I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we came. I mean, nothing job related. We came because I didn't want to raise kids in Southern California,
I know, isn't
so
that
we
crazy?
moved.
And Dallas it's one of those things. I have a lot of gratitude and thankful to be here. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a fairy tale. It's just the people here are amazing, the infrastructure, there's so many things to do. The way that people carry themselves and have values to raise their children, it's just sometimes I'm like, this can't be real. This is a
Yeah,
fairy tale. This is a Hallmark Christmas movie, but it is, and I love
I
it.
I completely agree. I mean, we especially like. I mean, a lot of the little cities. I mean, we landed in South Lake, which I absolutely love, and it's just such a cool place, and kids are absolutely loving it. So I encourage all my LA friends to move out to
Oh my
Dallas.
gosh. And what about the public education here? Blows my mind. I mean, it
Right.
is the way that they teach and they invest in these kids for their education is impeccable. So
Yeah.
I'll
No,
gladly pay
it's
my high property taxes.
exactly. Well, Brittany, do you have any parting words for our budding real estate entrepreneurs that are watching this and want to become successful 3 times Icon Award winners just like you?
Yeah, I say make a plan, write it down, find an accountability partner, find somebody to help you get where you need to go, and just do it. The real estate, if you really persevere with it, it can change your life and it can afford you generational wealth and a change in your dynamic and your trajectory for your family. So I strongly encourage people to do it. It's a great industry. It's awesome.
I couldn't agree more, Brittany. I think it's the best business if you work your plan, like you just said. And guys, in all seriousness, regardless of where you are in your career, take a look at aligning yourself, whether that is, let's say, with a team like Brittany's or with a brokerage or a group like Fast Forward Movement. Talk to Brittany, give me a call, or whatever you want to do, because I think collaboration, like you said, early on, it was all on your own. And I remember that. I mean, those days as well. And it's so amazing to be able to have groups that you can collaborate with and learn from, and just like you said early, accelerate your success, whether that's by joining a team or a group. So reach out. All of Brittany's contact info is below, or give her a wave when you see her in her Jeep.
Yeah, or find me if you see me at EXPCon or anywhere. Say hello. I love giving big old hugs and bringing you into my world. And peace me out if you see me in the Jeep.
That's right. That's right. Brittany, thank you so much. I so appreciate
Thank
you
you,
doing this,
Danny.
especially when you didn't have Wi-Fi. You could have called and
I
canceled, but
know.
you kept going, and that's what makes you successful.